Today we are going to be practicing timing and in-betweens. So right here I already have 3 frames set up by default. I'm gonna have the eye open, closed, and then open again. We're just gonna do the eye because that's one of the most basic things. I don't want to take too long. It's probably already gonna take me an hour. So what we're gonna do here is currently, how many frames is this? This is 30 frames. I'm going to be running it at 30 FPS, so that's about 1 second. It's long enough. So we're going to make a new frame here. Not here, but what's this? 15. Let's do 2s. 1 blank. 1 here. We're not going to put the frame here because I'm gonna set it up. If we put the frame here, it's not going to be the right speed because we could do, let's just, draw directly in between where it would be. This is just going to be a rough. It's not perfect yet. It's just to demonstrate. Eraser tool. Okay. I forgot to erase the other stuff. Okay. Off to a great start. Alright, we're gonna try again. Directly in the middle of everything else. This is basic, but So if we test this, it looks alright, but when we want to start adding our in-betweens, we're gonna have to add a bunch here on both sides, and a bunch here, and probably a bunch here to get it to look right. What we really want to do is put here about 1 or 2 blank spaces between. Let's do 2 blank spaces. And then we want to draw the next frame really close to this one. And then it's not just the top lid that comes down. The bottom lid goes up too. So we're not just going to keep bringing this down and keep this here. We're going to bring this up a little bit too. You don't have to worry too much about it being exact, because once the frames start playing over each other, you're not really going to notice anyway. I'm going to keep the pupil in the same spot though. And we're going to keep this mostly in the same spot, except bottom's going to be like that a bit. Make sure to also turn onion skin off every once in a while to check. Because the animation does look better if you can keep the frames as clean as you can get them. gonna shade this. Okay, that line. This is too short. You see how this is here, and this is back here. Make this a bit longer. There. Make sure you're constantly flipping through the current and previous frame to make sure things are matching up. It's like we're missing these pieces. So I'm just gonna move them a tiny bit. This can stay in the same spot. And then this bottom piece, you can see that the middle frame, it's only here. So we're gonna move this as a little bit as possible too. Just the tiniest bit. This is here, and then it goes all the way here. What we're gonna do is redraw this. Just trace over this shape again to the best of our ability. This too. Alright. Then we're going to take this, lasso select, and move it just a bit there. Do our test animation. Looks good so far. We're gonna keep going like this, so frame, space, space, frame. I'm gonna do that again. This time I'm going to copy this to save us work. Copy, space, space, frame, paste. But here's where you see where it says 1A, 1A. So if we edit this frame, it's also editing this frame. We don't want that. So we're going to go into the layers panel. It says 1A over here. And duplicate. Now it's 1B. Then we want to do specify cells 1B. There. Now we can edit this, and it doesn't affect this. So we're just going to keep doing what we were doing, moving things just a tiny bit until we get close enough to here. So we're going to onion skin. Move this just a tiny bit again. Move it down we're not going to move this down, we're just going to erase a bit. About that much. And then this is way back here. And this is here. So we're going to start making this a tiny bit longer. So it'll eventually match up with this over here. Then we want to do the same thing we do to the bottom, just make it a tiny bit off from the line that's there already. Here, and then down. Alright, so the pupil's going to stay in the same place. And then this at the bottom. This is going to come up just a little bit. Alright. And then this is also going to come up a little bit. Alright. Oh, we're missing a piece. There we go. Alright. These are also going to move a little bit again. Let's run it. Looking nice and smooth. So currently these three, the lines are really close together, but we're almost at frame 2. And we're still quite a distance away because the blue's where we are currently. This is the blue, that's where we are. And this is the green, where we have to be. That's a big distance to just be going a little bit like this every time. It's not enough frames. But we don't want anything to be the same speed all the time. So, for this next one, we're going to do space, space, frame. And duplicate 1B, so it becomes 1C. Specify 1C. This time, we want a bit of a bigger distance. So usually we do like this. We're going to make it down here this time. Larger margin. So we're going to erase a bit. We'll erase later. Let's see how big I want this gap to be. We'll go here. And then the bottom will go about here. Erase the extra. I don't want to put this directly in the middle either. So we're going to keep moving this one up just a tiny bit because the space isn't that big. All right. Move this closer, about there. Test it again. It's looking nice. Frame, 1, 2 frames. It's only going to be one space between here and here. That's fine. Duplicate 1D, select layer, 1D. Now for this last frame, we can make it directly between here and here, because that's a big distance. So, oop. Looks like in our last frame we made this a bit too high, because it's supposed to be down here. You can go back and fix that real quick. I'm gonna make the note here. Alright. There, so now we know it's supposed to be down here. Fix that real quick. Alright. fix this a bit too. Alright. Just check to make sure how this looks. Okay, since 1C and 1D are the same, we're just gonna copy, paste. Alright, back on track. We're going to put this here. This about here. Alright. It's looking pretty good. Now if we want, we can move this over just a bit. And we can add another frame here. And I'm going to redraw this for this frame so it's more accurate. Alright, that looks good. I'm gonna lengthen the timeline here. Because we still have to add the frames with the eye opening back up. So what we're gonna do is start again on frame 24. We're gonna copy this and paste it on 24. We can just move this to the end until we're ready to use it. 27, 1D. $30, 20, 33, 1B, 36, 1A, and then 39, 3. I don't think I wanted to loop that quickly, so we're going to drag this out more. It's 50. That's better. It's not perfect, but this is just a quick overview on Alright, so we started out with only 3 frames, and then we went and added the ones about 2 blanks between the previous frames. So 1 blank blank, 3 blank blank, 7. We pretty much followed that for this entire thing, except for 2, which I gave 1, 2, 3, 4 blanks, because I want the eye to stay closed for just a little bit before opening back up again. There you have it. Now this is looking just a little bit like it needs something else. So what we're going to do is we're going to add another animation folder. We're going to, I don't know, name this circle. Alright, frame. So, I'm going to just add a circle here. That looks better. Now, if we wanted, we could add shading to the eye too, which I think I might go ahead and do. Make the top a bit darker. don't want the pencil look after all. I'll just keep shading it with the pencil until I get what I want. Alright, there we go, that looks good. So the reason we did this in a separate folder is so it doesn't affect everything we did down here. And we can toggle it. There we go. And if we wanted, I'm gonna lock this sketch real quick. Alright. If we wanted, we can add as much shading to this layer as we want without having to worry about the layer below it. Now let's keep the shading simple. Alright. So we want this to match up with this, because currently it doesn't. But luckily, because this is a separate layer, all we have to do is keep duplicating this. Duplicate 1, we get 2. Specify 2, and then just erase the overlap. And this is going to take a bit of time, but it'll make the final animation look that much better. And for the eye-opening backup, we just need to do the same thing we did down here. Just copy these in reverse. Alright. And that looks really nice. And if this eye layer isn't dark enough, it's easy to make it darker. Just duplicate it. And you can see it better. Alright, now we want to export animation. We're gonna make this a GIF. Name it whatever. Great. I'm gonna export it to the same size, 1920, 1080. Or I can just do 720 to save space. Alright, export range from the first frame, which is 1, to the last frame, which is 49. Frame rate 30, loop count unlimited. We don't need dithering because there's no color. Wait for that to export. Alright. So now, let me see if I can get it to properly show on the screen. One moment. Alright. And that is our finished animation.